today's session will focus at one of the very critical and fundamental pillars of Marketing 4.0, which is UEM, or often known as the Unit Economics Model. Marketing 4.0, it's all about the business model itself. And when we talk about business model, the oft stated phrase or the word, it's important to understand the underlying concept of unit economics model. Simply put, if as a business, your idea, your product, or service makes money at the level of a consumer or at a unit level, you would have very high chances of making the business much more sustainable, much more scalable, and making money while you expand and take the business to newer heights. And hence, unit economics model explains the revenue that the consumer would generate by selling it to one single consumer or one single person within your entire market. And that's the capacity of a business that defines its fundamental scalability. And we often say that unit economics is the very critical factor which decides scalability and sustainability of any business. Let's look at a whole new dimension of understanding unit economic model or various kinds of business models. And we'll do that by going through a couple of examples. And in this today's session, we'll focus at one of the very landmark Warby Parker model, where it's all about looking at the business from a completely different mindset and saying that is there an opportunity in the market to become the middleman? And that's a very classical example of Warby Parker, where Warby Parker took the brand of Luxottica to a completely different level of understanding and way of working, where Luxottica monopolized the entire eyewear market. It not just controlled the pricing of the designer eyewear, it became one of the most dominant players in that particular segment of the industry. Most brands eventually sold their rights to Luxottica and who drastically eventually increased their manufacturing and design costs. And while that happened, Warby Parker became the middleman, and that's the critical solution that he came up with, whereby he was able to significantly reduce the price for consumers and also, with that endeavor, became very close to distribution contracts and negotiations, commanding a whole lot of power and control over the entire value chain of the ecosystem. And often becoming the middleman becomes one of the very core ways of envisaging the entire business model, and that does wonders to your unit economics. There are various examples within businesses. The NYC Casper for mattresses is a great example where it leverages on the Warby Parker model. Scarasso for shoes is also one of the typical examples where they have assumed a very significant middle position within the market and thereby capturing a lot of value within the entire supply chain or the value chain of the market. Brightside for bridal party retail is another great example, and often you would have heard about the Oedicus for hearing aids. So, the Warby Parker model, in a summary, talks about taking a dominant position at the middle of the supply chain where you're able to be in control of a large part of contracts and negotiations at the manufacturing and distribution side, but at the same time, even you have a significant influence over the consumer side of the market. We will look at more business models and open up our minds into the ways new age business models are being envisaged right now as we look around us. And with this session, you will get a whole new appreciation and understanding of looking at the same idea business model that you currently have in a completely different light, which will allow you to think of sustainability and future scalability in your ideas and opportunities that you have. Thank you.